Today we will discuss a problem which is taken from the Harvard University's weekly problem 81. So let's see what this problem is saying. Assuming that the index of reflection of water is 4/3 and that raindrops are spherical, that is there are raindrops in the environment and their refracting index is 4/3. Show that the location of a rainbow is approximately 42 degree above the line from the sun to you. If you see a double rainbow, what is the angle of the second one? Even the triple rainbows are possible, although they are different to see. Where is the third one? To understand this problem, you first have to understand what do you mean by just a normal rainbow, that is a single rainbow, and a double rainbow, and even the triple rainbow. So first let's understand them. And let me tell you one thing, that normal rainbow are referred as primary rainbow. And secondary one are referred to as double rainbow. So I will call the normal rainbow primary rainbow and the double rainbow as secondary rainbow because they are their appropriate names. So let's first understand what they are. Now let's try to understand what do we mean by primary rainbow and what do we mean by secondary rainbow. So let's suppose that here is the sun and here is the observer, and he is standing here, and in front of him there is a place where there is raining, and I have considered a single spherical droplet from them. So this is the spherical droplet, and I have considered a single ray of light coming from the sun, and it goes inside the droplet, and due to the different velocity of different wavelength of light, the light divide and we can see the rainbow in front of us. Now there is an important observation here. For the observer to able to observe the rainbow in front of him, that is in this direction, the sun has to be towards its back. That is, if the person is facing towards the rainbow like shown here, the sun should be towards its back. That means that if I consider the person as the origin, then the rainbow and the sun will be on opposite sides of each other. Now as you can see that here the ray have come and it goes inside the droplet, and there it has reflected a single time inside the droplet. The rainbows which are created due to a single reflection inside the droplet are called primary rainbow. So I suppose it is clear, this rainbow is called primary rainbow because there is a single reflection of the ray to inside the spherical droplet. And notice the color arrangement of this rainbow. Here towards the up there is red, so red color is towards the up, and the purple color is towards the bottom. So I hope we are all clear about the primary rainbow. Now let's see what do we mean by secondary rainbow. So as you have already guessed, the secondary rainbow is when there are two reflections. That is, I have considered again a single ray of light, that is as shown here, that is a single rays come and it goes inside the droplet, and there as you can see there are two reflections. So when a rainbow is created due to two reflections inside the droplet, that rainbow is called secondary rainbow. In this rainbow, notice the color arrangement. Here the red color is downwards, that is towards the bottom, and the purple is up. So if I draw the two cases in a single picture, you can see that the color arrangement of the primary rainbow and the secondary rainbow are different. Here it is reverse of the secondary rainbow. So I hope it is clear that when two rainbows fall, two rainbows are created. The first one, that is the primary one, is created when there is a single reflection inside the droplet, and the secondary is created when there is a single reflection inside the droplet. So it is all clear, and now let's discuss two more properties which we need to understand or to able to solve the problem. They are very elementary, so I will just go through it quickly. To solve this particular problem, we need two ideas from geometric optics, that are two important laws from the geometric optics. Those two laws are, the first one is the law of reflection, and the second one is Snell's law. To show you the law of reflection, I will take a help of an animation. So let me show you an animation. So in this animation you can see that we have a medium, that is a surface here, and a ray has incident on this particular surface at a particular point, that is this particular point, and then it has reflected outwards, that is this ray. Now what we do, we draw a perpendicular on the point of incident, that is this perpendicular. Then the law of reflection says that if the incident angle is making an angle of theta with the perpendicular, then so will the reflected ray, that is those two rays make equal angle with the perpendicular, and it is true, and it is always true irrespective of the incident angle. So let me show you a little animation for that. As you can see, I am varying the incident ray and incident angle, and the reflected angle also vary with it. So this is the law of reflection. I hope you have understood it. Now comes the Snell's law. The Snell's law is something which I will not use any animation to describe because it will take just long time. So suppose we have two mediums, that is this lower medium which has refracting index mu2 and the upper medium which has a refracting index of mu1, and suppose that a ray has incident upon this boundary which separates the two medium here, and then it reflected as shown in the previous example, and this is the perpendicular on the point of reflection. And now the total light which comes because of the incident ray, the total ray will not be reflected, some of it will go inside the other medium with a different refracting index, and suppose that light is this light is referred to as refracted light, and if the reflected ray is making an angle of theta1 with respect to the perpendicular and the refracted light is making an angle of theta2 with respect to the perpendicular, then we can say that, or the Snell's law give us mu1 sine of theta1 equals to mu2 sine of theta2, that is the refracting index of one medium times the sine of the angle of incident ray equals to the refracting index of the second medium times the angle in that medium, that is the sine of refracted ray angle. And this is Snell's law, and it just gives you a relation to calculate theta1 with respect to theta2 or vice versa. So now let's see how to solve this problem. Now we have all the things to solve this problem. So first let me draw the image of this problem and then we will analyze it, and I will just again describe the problem for you. And this is the image of the particular problem, and as in the problem, this is the spherical droplet. This particular thing is the spherical droplet. It is seeming as a circle because it is the cross section of the droplet. The refracting index of this is mu2, and the refracting index of the outside, that is the refracting index of the air, is mu1 equals to 1. So I have considered the refracting index of the air is 1 because it is close to that. Now these two lines, that is this one and this one, are parallel to horizon. All right, so they are parallel to the horizon. Now these two lines are parallel to the horizon, and this one is coming from the sun. So this one is coming from the sun and it is incidenting on the droplet on the point P1. So I have drawn a perpendicular on the point P1, as you can see, and because it is a perpendicular on the circle, so it will go through the center of the circle, as we know from the elementary geometry. So the ray is incidenting on the droplet and it goes inside, and then it reflects from the point K inside the droplet. There is a single reflection, so it is primary rainbow. Then it goes to this direction and again it incident on the point P2, and then it refracts outside the droplet. Now because on the point P2 it refracts, I have drawn another perpendicular on the point P2, and it is also perpendicular to the circle, so it also goes through the center. So up to this point everything is clear. Now let's suppose that this ray is making an angle of beta with the perpendicular, that is the incident angle is, the angle of incidence is beta, and because the refracting index of both media is different, so the value of the angle of incident, that is beta, will not be equal to this angle, so let's call it alpha. All right, okay. Now what is the thing you have to find out in this setup? The thing you have to find out in the setup is the angle between the ray which is coming from the sun and the ray which is coming out of the droplet. Why? Because see that in the problem it is told that show that the location of the rainbow is approximately 42 degrees above the line from the sun to U. Here U is the observer. So this particular ray, here you are standing, so that means this ray is the ray of, this ray is yours ray, you can say it something like this. So this ray which is coming out of the droplet is your ray, and this one is the ray which is coming from the sun. In the problem you are asked to find the angle between these two rays. So what is the angle between these two? Let's suppose that the angle between the sun with the horizon is theta. I hope it is clear. Now as I have told you before that this is the perpendicular, so it goes through the center of the circle. So P1O is equals to OK equals to radius, because OK is also the radius. So in this particular triangle, two sides are equal, so the opposite angles will also be equal. So this is also alpha, and on the point K the ray is reflected. So from the law of reflection I can say that this angle is also alpha. I hope it is clear. And if this angle is alpha, because these two, this one and this one is radius, so this one will be also alpha. Why? Because OK equals to OP2 is also radius. So these four angles are all alpha. I hope it is clear. Now if it is alpha, now from this setup you can see that is from this particular part we can apply the Snell's law, and we can write it as the refracting index of air, which is equals to 1 times sine of beta equals to the refracting index of water, which is 4/3 times sine of alpha. So I hope this point is clear. Now for this particular position, that is this particular position, if this angle is alpha, then using the same Snell's law, that is this one, I can say that this angle is also beta, and if this is beta, then this one is also theta. So you see that this diagram is symmetric with respect to this particular line. I hope you have noticed this, that this diagram is symmetric with respect to the green diameter. So what do it means? Well, this is a very powerful theorem in optics which we have discovered wrongfully. This is called the reversibility, and we can write it as optics follow reversibility. That means is that if I interchange the position of sun and observer, all values will remain same. What I mean is that if I replace the observer with the sun and the observer is now here, then just the direction of the ray will change, that is it will now travel in the opposite direction, but all the values of the angles will be same as before. I hope it is clear, and you can just say use that theorem, and just you could have said that this angle is theta, so from the reversibility we know that this angle will also be theta, and no one can say anything to you because it is also correct. So now if this angle is theta and this angle is theta, this means that the angle between sun's ray and horizon is theta, and the angle between droplets ray and horizon is minus theta. So the angle between the sun's ray and droplets ray will be theta minus of minus theta equals to 2 theta, and this is the thing which we have to prove that its value is 42° when we can see the rainbow. I hope it is clear. So we have to find the value of 2 theta for which we can see the rainbow. So now that we have found our goal, so let's just proceed to reach to our goal. So what will be the value of this angle? As you can see that this angle is alpha and this angle is also alpha. So using a elementary geometry theorem, that is the external angle is equals to the sum of the opposite internal angles, we can write it as 2 alpha. I hope it is clear. And because this line, that is this line, and also this green line is parallel to horizon, that is parallel to each other, I can say that this total angle is also 2 alpha. I hope it is clear. Because the perpendicular is cutting the 2 parallel lines, so it is also 2 alpha. So the value of beta is 2 alpha minus theta. So up to this point, I hope everything is clear. Now using the Snell's law here, I can use the value of beta in the Snell's law, and if I use the value of beta in the Snell's law, we get something like this, which says that the value of theta equals to 2 alpha minus sine inverse 4/3 sine alpha. I hope it is clear. So this is the equation which gives us the relation between our desired theta and the alphas. Now how can we find the value of theta? Well, you can just give the reasons in the comment and I will say the result, but I will not say why. The value of this theta will give us the rainbow, that is we can see the rainbow for the value of theta in which this theta has a maximum value with respect to the alpha. So for a particular value of alpha, we will get a maximum value of theta, and that particular value of theta is our desired result. So how can we find the maximum? Well, before that, let me show you the plot of theta versus alpha. Let me just show you that. So here I have plotted theta versus alpha. This thing is theta and this axis represent alpha, and you can see that here in this particular value we have a maximum of this function. So I have drawn a tangent and I will slide it along this graph, and on the point where it is parallel, there will be the value of the critical points, and in the graph we can see that it is a maxima. So I am 100% sure that it will be a maxima. As you can see, I am varying it and it goes like this, and somewhere near here, which is close to 40, and we will get the result as 40.2 degree. We are getting a value of theta which is close to 20 degree, and this 20 is our desired value of theta. Why is that? Well, you can think of it yourself. Let me give you a little hint. Notice the change of theta when I vary alpha. What happens when we vary the independent function on the maximum of the dependent one? Well, leave your answers in the comment. So now we need to find the maximum of this function. To find the maximum, we will use what we normally use, that is, we will differentiate it with respect to alpha, and we will get and we will equal it to 0, and it is maximum or minimum. You can check it by doing the second derivative, but in this case I have shown you the graph and you know it is maximum. So let's do the derivative, and if I do the derivative, I will get 2 minus 4 by 3 cos alpha by root over 1 minus 16 by 9 sine square beta, and it is equals to 0. And if I simplify a little bit and solve this, then I will get alpha equals to 40.2 degree, which I have shown you in the graph. It is close to 40 degree, so it is indeed correct. And if I put this value of alpha in this equation, I get the value of theta equals to 21 degree, or theta max, I can say it like that. And the angle between the sun and you, that is the ray from the sun and the ray from the droplet, or that is your ray, is equals to 2 theta max, and it is equals to 42 degree as stated by the question. So I hope everything is clear up to you up to this point, and you can also comment if you have any question. And so today I will stop here, and for the next 2 parts I will make a separate videos on that. So take care.